Hello everybody, Wolfpack here, and welcome to this week's SimRep. Today we have some more IL-2 Korea news, some DCS news, some Gunner Heat PC news, and more. We are going to hop right in and get started with some DCS World news. DCS World has had some interesting updates over the past couple of weeks. For one, Heatblur, the legendary DCS World module developers, have released an AI A6E into the sim. Heatblur is currently working on a full fidelity module of this aircraft, along with some other projects like the Eurofighter, which we haven't heard from in a while. But for now, we get an AI version of the A6E. This is certainly laying the groundwork for further development and the long-awaited full fidelity module. Mission makers will definitely be making good use of this aircraft. The trailer they released along with the A6E is pretty darn cool as well. Another much-awaited Cold War icon is in the news as well, the Tornado, and the developer Aviastorm released a small update. The developers announced that the DCS Tornado module will be powered by Heatblur's proprietary Anvil technology. This includes the component-based simulation framework that powers Heatblur's F4E Phantom and their upcoming modules for DCS World, as well as the Jester 2.0 AI. This is interesting and rather exciting news. Out of all of the AI systems for two-seater aircraft in DCS, I do think Heatblur has done the best with Jester, especially in the F4. It has really been refined to a point where it feels intuitive and even lifelike. I guess I have a different experience with the co-pilot gunner, George, in the Apache, and Petrovich in the Hind. It feels like you're just more or less giving them orders, and they aren't really thinking for themselves. Still, this is pretty cool news. I have no idea when we expect to see the Tornado, but they did release a picture of it with some pretty nice texture, so it is clearly coming along. The topic of AI in flight sims is always present to some degree, and we recently got some disappointing news from Eagle Dynamics. They have teased a feature the past couple of years called GFM, which stands for Generic Flight Model. This was a project that they were working on that intended to overhaul the DCS AI and make them more lifelike as a whole. In a Russian interview with the COO at Eagle Dynamics, it appears that this project has been scrapped. This development is disappointing, as the AI in most modern flight sims leaves a lot to be desired. While the DCS AI has continued to improve slowly, this big, large-scale overhaul that many people were expecting is no longer happening. Friend of the channel Shamrock over at the Stormbird's blog wrote up a good article going into a bit more detail about this. Now, while we are discussing failed projects from Eagle Dynamics, I do kinda want to just share some of my thoughts about the development philosophy over at Eagle Dynamics. It does seem like with a lot of these big projects, they aim to overhaul every single aspect of a particular thing in their game. For example, this GFM is AI related, but also let's think about the dynamic campaign. So the GFM, they wanted to change everything. They wanted the AI to be incredibly lifelike and human-like. They poured a bunch of research into this, allegedly, and decided it was not worth it 4 years down the line. Now, with the dynamic campaign, everything we've heard about it, they are simulating everything. Routes of trucks, the AI has to handle logistics, ammunition, etc., etc. Now, I could be out of touch for sure here, but I don't think most players care how many magazines of 5.56 Billy Bob at the front line has. I think a lot of this could be abstracted and would provide a similar experience to the dynamic campaign that Eagle Dynamics is teasing. I think simulating every little aspect of the war is cool, don't get me wrong, but I certainly think it is holding up development and is one of the reasons that we are allegedly only going to see the Caucasus as a theater of war in this dynamic campaign. Anyway, I hope I'm making sense. I feel like I would prefer some more incremental growth in a lot of these areas in terms of single player content, AI, whatever it is, than these grand, massive overhauls that are just seemingly perpetually in the works. But let me know your thoughts down below. Speaking of perpetual development, let's talk about Wolfpack, the multiplayer subsim. The developers had their end of the year post and stated their ongoing development goals, which is as follows. Our development goal is to make Wolfpack into an open world game where players can travel anywhere on Earth. The game should have a career mode where the players play through a campaign spanning the whole war. We want to implement fast travel and manual navigation. We also want to add a versus mode into Wolfpack. To achieve these goals, the developers had to add the following to the game: server-side systems that support a global open world, a new world editor, new enemy units including aircraft, carriers, coastal artillery, minefields, and U-boat nets, a mission editor, dedicated server support, and a playable Corvette for the versus mode. The devs stated they have completed these following things: created a world editor, implemented all of the units listed above, created a server-side infrastructure for the mission editor, but it still lacks a user interface, rewritten the code to have complete separation between server and client, which will make the implementation of dedicated servers simple, modeled the playable Corvette and are now adding textures to it, and finally, the devs said they have upgraded the game to Unity 6 and have a high-definition rendering pipeline. The developers state that most of the remaining development work is going to be integrating all of these new systems and updating the UI. Once that is complete, they will continue with regular updates to the game. Now, this sounds like it is going to be a massive patch, and hopefully it is, and hopefully it does show up here in the next couple of months. The Wolfpack community is growing restless just by looking at the Steam forums. These guys have not received as much as a bug fix in years, which is not a good look at all. And this is kind of going back to the DCS World conversation we were having. This big, massive project essentially sounds like the Wolfpack devs are overhauling the game, but at the cost of not giving their current player base anything to chew on. These are the dangers of early access, I suppose. IL2 Korea got a new trailer showing off the in-game menus along with some footage of an engagement. The trailer starts off by showcasing the new user interface, which I think looks fantastic. I'm a big fan of stylized UI, and this UI certainly has a 1940s, 1950s aesthetic to it. Additionally, there is a cockpit layout showing diagrams of the cockpit and a flight manual all baked into the game. This will be a great aid to players trying out new aircraft and hopefully will allow you to really learn the aircraft entirely in game. The gameplay footage shows a MiG-15 Biz engaging a large formation of B-29 bombers on April 12, 1951, which was known as Black Thursday. The Soviet MiGs intercepted US bombers and their escorts, inflicting heavy losses. The gameplay looks like what you would expect from IL2 Great Battles, with the addition of large bomber formations and even the option to have the pilot in the cockpit. The overhaul graphic improvements are definitely a step up. The gameplay reveal was rather short, unfortunately, and did have some weird cuts. I don't think these cuts were meant to hide anything in the trailer, but they were most likely an attempt to shorten the video. I expect we will see more gameplay footage coming out soon, maybe doing some ground pounding or something like that. And speaking of the ground, this week's Korea devblog did have a cool feature announced. That is people. Little people will now dot the towns of Korea, doing various things, walking about and such, which I think is awesome. I don't know if any other combat flight sim has had people wandering about, but I think this is a great step in making these worlds feel more alive. This has always been one of my complaints with combat flight sims. The airfields feel kind of lonely. You take off, you're in the sky, and then nothing's really going on down below. Now, my first thought is this has to be a performance killer, but apparently it has very little impact. A lot of these new features that have been shown off in devblogs have me rather excited for Korea, and a lot of it does showcase the new upgrades the devs have done to their engine. Anyway, let me know what you all think about this below. The Gunner Heat PC devs continue to flesh out West German forces in the game. They have just added the Leopard 1A3 family of tanks. This design was a development of the Leopard 1A1, which we do have in the game. The turret shape in the A3 is quite a bit different than the A1. The level of protection added by this new turret is essentially the same. Much like the Leopard 1A1, the Leopard 1A3 is equipped with a 105mm main gun, a stereoscopic rangefinder, and either an early generation active night sight or a passive low light television sight. In addition to the Leopard 1A3 family of tanks, there are some more missions added to the game, and additionally they are converting more missions to the new command mode. They've also added infantry commands to command mode, so you can order infantry around, which is pretty nifty. I also do want to mention the fact that a lot of the games we discuss on the channel are currently on sale. U-Boat, for example, is now on sale for $8.99 USD. Gunner Heat PC has a 25% off discount, and of course, IL2 and DCS are having their winter sales. I've started a kind of working relationship with Pimax. A few months ago, I did a VR headset review of the Pimax Crystal Super, and I wanted to let you know that Pimax is running numerous sales on their various headsets across their website. I have received the new-ish 57 PPD lenses from Pimax, which increase the resolution and make one of my main complaints with VR, spotting, a little bit easier. I did kind of want to share my thoughts with this, and I will probably have a dedicated video out in the near future about these lenses. There was quite a bit of interest in VR after my last video, so I figured I would inform you that they are in fact running a sale. Pimax does have affiliate links as well, so if you are inclined to check them out, feel free to use that link down below. Anyway, folks, that is going to do it for today's video. I do hope you all enjoyed it. If you did, please be sure to leave a like and comment, as it really does help out the channel. But until next time, this is Wolfpack345 signing off, and I'll see you all on the next one.